Zero to base. We are pinned down and need immediate exfil. Send in the QRF. Send in the Steel Brigade.
Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. Welcome to Sunday Show and Tell. I am a little bit congested today, so I apologize if I sound off or if I'm doing a lot of sniffling. However, we have a lot to take a look at, so let's just dive right into it. First off, Harbinger Studios' Elric of Melniboné. Yesterday, Friday, February 21st, the pre-orders ended. There is no release date yet as to when we can expect them, and there's no word if they're even going to be made available on the Savage Crucible website for sale, or if they'll go up for sale at places like Big Bad, like the rest of the Savage Crucible figures did. All we know is pre-orders are closed. I got 3 coming. So, on to what we can get our hands on. We're going to be starting off with Super 7. And usually I don't pay attention to the reaction figures, but every once in a while there's one that catches my attention, and the Super 7 Edgar Allan Poe reaction figure is definitely one of them. I love this crackpot. I love just the look of this figure. It looks like a pretty good likeness in plastic form of Edgar Allan Poe, and it is a grayscale. He comes with a novel, he comes with a book, and he has that great Gothic art card back with, of course, the Raven on it. $20, available at Entertainment Earth and Super 7's website. Unfortunately, we have no word yet on Wave 2 of the Dungeons & Dragons animated series Ultimates figures. I was really hoping that around this time would be when they would be releasing the second wave, or at least telling us about the second wave. However, there is a possibility that this will be one of the Toy Fair reveals, which is coming up in a week, I believe, at this point, at the time that you're watching this. So there is some holdout that they will be a Toy Fair reveal. Something else I really talk about, Neca Toys. And the only reason I'm talking about this is because it is a Last Ronin release, and I really dig the Last Ronin. If you haven't read that story arc or the following sequels that have been coming since then, it's a really good follow-up to the Mirage comics. It's a really good, unique look into the TMNT universe. And Neca Toys has given us, by the way, skip to the next section, which I will put a timestamp right here, if you don't want any spoilers for The Last Ronin, because what I'm about to talk about is going to spoil the story big time. I will give you a few seconds. And there we go. So what Neca Toys has released is a 3-pack of the Ghost Turtles right here. The 3 turtles that had died before the beginning of The Last Ronin. We, of course, have Leonardo, Donatello, and Raphael. I really dig this green translucent plastic that they have been molded in and then just painted over, giving them that ghostly appearance. The only thing I don't like, or not that I shouldn't say that I don't like, but the only thing I wish they would have maybe included is that before it was revealed that Michelangelo was the last Ronin, when we did see the 4 brothers in ghost form, they were in the shadow, they were kind of obscured, and their masks were all blacked out. So I think it would have been really cool if we could have gotten this 3-pack, and yes, we want to have the colored masks with them, but I think it would have been really cool if there would have been alternate heads that would have had completely blacked out masks to go along with it. That's just my minor nitpick on it. So in addition to the 3 figures, the set also comes with 4 sets of hands for each and their signature weapons. It doesn't look like there's going to be any extra kibble, any extra weapon accessories with this. And like I said, this is a 3-pack. You can't get them individually as of right now, but once this 3-pack sells, who knows, maybe like with the Larson 4-pack that came out, they'll eventually do individual releases of them. But this 3-pack right now is $110, which like $109.99, $110, which I don't think is a bad price for those 3 figures as it is. But it may not be for everyone. Something else that I rarely talk about, even though I really, really want to get a figure line of this, is Metroid Prime. And there have not been a lot of figures for it. There's only been statues of it, which is what we're going to be taking a look at right now. First 4 figures, Metroid Prime Samus Phazon suit, standard edition, and a collector's edition. I am a big fan of the Metroid franchise. As a matter of fact, with the Metroid Prime remaster series coming out, I'm seriously thinking of finally getting like a Nintendo Switch, because we know like there's the remaster series, and I think like Metroid, the next Metroid Prime is going to be coming out fairly soon. So I'm kind of thinking of investing in a Switch just so that I can play those games again. I've played the first 3 Metroid Primes and the one that was on the DS, which wasn't really that good, but I really, really, really dug those games, especially the first 2. Like the first one I thought was a masterpiece. The second one I really liked, being able to like bounce back and forth between like the light universe and the dark universe. I thought that was really cool. Now there are 2 versions of this, as I said, a collector's edition and a standard edition. The collector's edition has LED lights that plug into it, and it comes with a USB power cord, not battery operated, so you can leave this on all the time or for as long as you want without worrying about killing the batteries. This is the 3rd one of the series. As you can see right here, there's currently 3 statues. They all have a little bit of a different pose to them. There is the standard Samus and her Varia suit, and then there is Samus in her Gravity suit, and now this one, which is Samus in her Phazon suit. Or could you use this as Dark? No, Dark Samus had a little bit of a different look to her. So, but we do have these 3 different versions of Samus. All of them have 2 price points. $129.99 for the standard edition, $149.99 for the collector's edition, and both have a standard, or all 3 have a standard and collector's edition. Once again, the major difference being the LED lights that are in them. Jumping over to Valaverse now, as you saw at the beginning, Valaverse has announced their Zolocon exclusive. Zolocon goes up March 1st, which is next week. Pretty ballsy going against Toy Fair, I have to admit, but with Zolocon comes their Steel Brigade exclusive for the convention. This is an updated Steel Brigade figure. I don't think the body is any different. I think it's the same buck, the same body. I haven't pulled my original Steel Brigade figure out to take a look, but I'm pretty sure the body is the same. Where the differences are is the equipment that he comes with, the armor that he's wearing, and of course there is that big shiny dome, that vac metal helmet. Also, the helmet looks like it's been resculpted, and it can accept accessories into it just like some of the standard helmets can. But honestly, realistically, on a helmet like that, I don't know what night vision goggles flipping down would do, if it would work with a fully enclosed visored helmet like that. But hey, if you want to put the accessories on, you have that option. I think that's really cool. I think it's a nice touch that like they really have updated the Steel Brigade figure, even if it is the same buck. New equipment, new accessories, new helmet sculpt. There is a 1 in 100 variant that it's not a bloody variant like most of the Action Force figures are. It is the gold helmet officer that has a golden vac metal helmet. This was announced on Instagram. You saw part of the video at the beginning of this, and it was a really cool, really dramatic little video, like a little bit over a minute long, that is narrated by Tony from Analog Toys. I thought the video was kind of cool. I liked it. It grabbed my attention. I don't know if I'm actually going to get this. I know I am a sucker for like some of the convention exclusives that Valaverse puts out for Action Force, but I don't know. This one, I have a feeling I may just take a pass on. Now, even though this is a convention exclusive, they did say in the Instagram post that in addition to being available at the convention, anything left over will be available for sale on the Valaverse website. Plus, there will be a second issuing of them that will be available on the Valaverse website as well. So it's basically like any convention exclusive that they have. They sell them at the convention, they bring back their surplus, they sell it on the website while they're waiting for the second order to come through, and then a few weeks to a month later, you have more available on that second wave of orders. So the first time it goes up for order will no doubt be very limited quantities, and then we wait for the second round to come over. Now in DC news, I know this is something we don't talk about often here, but there is some things to talk about, and we're even going to touch on McFarlane toys, believe it or not. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Medicom MAFEX Batman Hush Batman reissue. I believe this is basically the same figure that they sold like last year or the year before. They just reissued it because demand for it was probably high. Because even though this isn't my favorite Batman, this is still an awesome looking Batman. I love that dark blue in the cape and the dark blue of like his gauntlets and his boots. It's like that old classic look of Batman that I love, just updated a little bit and missing the gold or the yellow shield around the bat. I actually really wish that this was the modern interpretation of Batman. I think this is a really cool look for Batman. The all black, which I think is what he is right now, doesn't really do anything for me. I just really like this dark blue right here. And honestly, this dark blue would be realistically more what he would need to blend into the night. It has a cloth cape with a wire, and if it's anything like the cloth cape from the Nightfall Batman that we took a look at last year, that cape is going to be awesome. You're going to be able to do some really cool things with it. In addition to the cloth cape, he has a masked and unmasked head. He actually has two masked heads, one unmasked Bruce Wayne head, interchangeable hands, a grapple gun, and the batarangs. Now, this is up for pre-order right now for only $79.99, which is actually a really good price for a MAFEX figure. $79.99, $80 at Entertainment Earth with free shipping. Estimated ship date is August of this year. As always, there will be links to everything that there are links available for in the description below, so you can go and check it out. On the McFarlane side of things, dipping into the DC multiverse a little, I don't collect multiverse anymore, but I thought some of these things were worth talking about. That the McFarlane Toys Amazon exclusive gold label Killing Joke Joker has been delayed. I'm sure everybody that was waiting for that has seen that. Was it Amazon? Was it DC or Warner Brothers? We don't know. I highly doubt it was Todd. But for some reason, it has been delayed with no projected release date in sight. It's kind of just one of those sit tight and stay tuned things. At the time of recording, we still don't have any word on that release date. And I don't think we have any word on how much it was going to cost. We just know it's an Amazon exclusive. Also, with McFarlane Toys, some things that were released was the Black Manta Sea Saucer and the Bat Multicraft. These were the vehicles for the Superpowers collection that were crowdfunded. I think it was last year as well. It was McFarlane Toys' first crowdfunding on their fan page. I forget what they called it. And it was the one that, remember, they set the funding goal really high, and it wasn't making it there, so they just lowered the funding goal to meet what the demand. Now the thing is, I'm pretty sure during this crowdfund they said these were going to get made whether it was crowdfunded or not. They were just doing this crowdfunding, and I think the idea was that the people that went in on the crowdfunding got it for much cheaper, which I do believe, because we have the Black Manta Sea Saucer that has no figure and no windows, although I have seen videos that the hatch pops up. There is a cockpit in there with like a forward screen, which I didn't know when it was crowdfunded. I thought it was just going to be something that Black Manta stood on and rode, or he like attached to the bottom of it or something. but there is a cockpit. He can get inside. And that thing is $24.99, $25. And then the Bat Multicraft, which does have a translucent canopy, seats 2, and that's about it. That is $34.99, $35, which might be a little pricey for something like that. So the two of them together, 25 and 35, is like, what, $60? And I think the whole crowdfunder in and of itself, if you were all in, I think was 80, and that included some Superpowers figures. Now, there's no word on if those figures from the crowdfunder are going to be released, but from what I understand from the videos I've seen, some of the people are kind of upset because the figures that were in the crowdfunder have actually already been released, just with like a slightly different paint deco, lighter colors. So I don't collect Superpowers. I don't know how true that is, but I have seen, there have been some mixed reactions to this. Some people are okay with it because they feel like they got exactly what they were, what it said on the tin. They got exactly what they were promised. They got exactly what they paid for. Some people are kind of upset that if they knew these were going to be released at retail so soon, because I think the other issue was that they were released at retail before some of the backers got their rewards in hand. So I can kind of see being upset about that. Like I said, I don't collect Superpowers. I didn't crowdfund it. I don't know what all went down with that, but just so everybody knows, the vehicle's up for sale. I don't think the unique figures are going to be released for sale on retail. I think the idea was those were the crowdfunding exclusives. Now, one more last bit of McFarlane news, and this is going to be good news to some. The Amazon exclusive gold label camo tumbler is on sale, time of recording. It is down to $42.44. So if you wanted the camo tumbler, but you thought the price was too high since it doesn't come with a figure, it is on sale right now, $42.44. Once again, link to that in the description below. From McFarlane Toys to Mattel, we're hitting all of the big guns today. Earlier this week, Mattel sent out an email announcing their Mattel Creations Revealed event. This is basically, if you don't know what the Revealed event is, because I had never heard of it until this year. I think last year was the first year for it. But this is basically Mattel's answer to Hasbro PulseCon, where they have an online event that is going to roll out all of their big brands, and we're going to see what's new and what's coming for the following year. This is going to happen on Thursday, March 6th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. All of the times are Pacific times. Just remember that. So that's going to be 3 hours behind Eastern time. So I also find this interesting because this is going to be coming out right after Toy Fair, March 6th. We know Toy Fair is on March 1st. This is on March 6th. So I'm curious if this is just going to retread a lot of things that will be revealed at Toy Fair, or if it's going to build upon what we've seen at Toy Fair. But either way, here is the schedule for the Mattel Creations Revealed event, that at 9:07 we have Uno, at 9:20 we have Monster High, at 9:33 we have the Little People Collector, at 9:47 we have Barbie, which it makes sense that that is the anchor in the middle of it, because let's be honest, Mattel is the house that Barbie built. At 10:01 we have Masters of the Universe. Possibly, I'm hoping for, and it's not even for me, I'm hoping this for Motu collectors, that possibly will get an update on the Snake Layer crowdfunding. At 10:15 we have WWE. At 10:29 we have Hot Wheels, which I'm really hoping for some new Racerverse to take a look at. And then at 9:43 we have Mattel Creations Bespoke. So it's going to take place in the morning over the span of 2 hours. It looks like it's going to be a very tight event. I wouldn't bank on these this timetable staying this accurate, because if it is anything like Hasbro Pulse, we know things can go wrong, things can go longer than they should. So these are the estimated starting times. Take it with a grain of salt. So More with Mattel news. We have a new collab Hot Wheels announced that the Hot Wheels 2025 Track Fleet series will feature Ultra Magnus from the Transformers. Now, last year we got Optimus Prime. This year we're going to get Ultra Magnus. Prime right now is very hard to find. Ultra Magnus here, I think, hasn't actually hit shelves yet, but I think this one is going to be in the neighborhood of like $5 or $6. I think that's how much Prime went for last year. I think Prime was about $5, so I'm guessing this is going to be $5 or $6. Also, along the lines of the collab, we have Barbie Play Doh sets coming out, which I'm kind of digging this sort of like this peace treaty between Hasbro and Mattel, and seeing what they're coming up with these cross collaborations. The Barbie Play Doh set, we don't have a release date for it, but it is going to be revealed at Toy Fair, officially revealed at Toy Fair. But it looks like you have a couple of Barbie dolls, and you make their hair and their clothing and their accessories out of Play-Doh and just dress them up with that. Now, we don't have any actual pictures of it yet, except these. I don't know if these were unofficial reveals or if these were leaks. Full disclosure, I found this on TNI News. That was the place that broke the story, as far as I know. Now, I'm bringing up Barbie and Ultra Magnus in Hot Wheels, not because like I'm going to really get into the Barbie Play-Doh, although I do think it's cool because out of the collaborations, this is the first one that is being produced by Hasbro. But I bring this up because there is one collaboration that I would love to see happen, and that is something for HeroQuest. I would love if they did some Masters of the Universe quest packs for HeroQuest. I think that could be really cool. Not even necessarily something that you would mix in, or that you could mix in with like the standard heroes from HeroQuest, but like you just have like a Masters of the Universe expansion pack that has like He-Man, Man-at-Arms, Teela, and maybe Stratos, like the 4 originals right there. And then you could have Skeletor, Beastman, and Merman as like bad guys, and some Skeletrons, I can never remember what they're called, for like fodder. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of possibilities right there. And while we're talking about it, like, there's something else that D&D has that they could do as an expansion to HeroQuest, or I'm sorry, that Hasbro could do as an expansion to HeroQuest, and I just said it, and that's Dungeons and Dragons hero packs for quest packs for HeroQuest. That could be really cool as well, because then even that with the D&D ones, you could, because they're not like superhuman, they're just like other characters, that you could mix in with like the standard HeroQuest sets. And finally, we jump from Mattel to Hasbro and Hasbro adjacent, and man, do we have a lot to talk about in this section. So let's just dig in and get through this. The first thing I want to talk about is coming off of the Hot Wheels Ultra Magnus, Transformers related, and that is the Mastermind Creations reformatted R53 Tyranatron Rise. This is the best looking not Megatron I have seen. This thing looks awesome. Now, first of all, it looks like there's some die cast on there. It's all plastic. From what the description said, there's no metal. This is all plastic. It's just very shiny plastic. It comes with multiple weapon options, including that big arm cannon, sword with a swappable handle for a long grip and a short grip, his flail, his aforementioned arm cannon, cannons mounted up on the shoulders. He also comes with 3 separate face plates and 2 helmet pieces, one that is silver and one that is black, because the black one harkens back to the early days of like Marvel Comics when they were painting the helmet up black just to give it a little bit of contrast. I think this thing looks awesome. It also has a really great looking tank mode. This, what is his name? Tyranatron Rise. So Tyranatron, not Megatron, stands 8.26 inches tall. So just a hair over 8.25 inches tall. That is awesome. He is up for pre-order now. Only place I could find him was Big Bad Toy Store. He is $139.99, $140, estimated to ship out July of this year. Following up with more Transformers news, we have the Hasbro Transformers EarthSpark Optimus Prime Battle Trailer playset. Now, this is an updated version from the one that came out, whether it was last year or the year before, that it's a very different looking Optimus Prime with trailer. It's very simplistic, but I think that's the whole point of the EarthSpark line. I think this is a line that is geared more towards kids. It has a simplistic look. It has simplistic transformation. I kind of dig the look of this one. I really like the look of the old one when I found it, but this one I like how it's like more sleek, more aerodynamic. This is up for pre-order only on Entertainment Earth right now. Link in the description below. I haven't been able to find it on Hasbro Pulse, Big Bad Toy Store, pretty much anywhere else, to be completely honest. I don't know if this is going to be an exclusive for Entertainment Earth, but it did go up for pre-order this week. And when you go there, it says photos, no pictures, pictures coming. These I found online, so I'm assuming this is what it's going to look like. Trailer pops open, turns into a big cannon. Optimus transforms. Very simple looking transformation. Kind of a long head. I don't know if that's what he looks like in EarthSpark, because I think this is based off of a cartoon. Yes, no. And this is going for $39.99, $40. As I said, pre-orders available on Entertainment Earth. Estimated arrival is the end of May. And we are going to close out our Transformers section with a LioKaiser update. It is funded. It is fully funded. Time of recording, we have 12,065 backers. We are on our way to Death Cobra because Death Cobra has a target of 13,000 backers. So I don't doubt that we're going to get to Death Cobra, which is the other Transformer that makes up this big horking combiner. If you remember, Death Cobra is the helo that turns into the big shoulder cannon. And then after that, we have the electromagnetic nunchucks that is at 16,000 backers. I don't doubt that we're going to hit Death Cobra for this because we still have, once again, time of recording, a little over 30 days to fund this. But LioKaiser has been funded. If you were on the fence and you were wondering if it was going to make it, it has made it. As a matter of fact, it made it very quickly after my last video about this. Continuing our dive into Hasbro, we have some G.I. Joe news. Very little bit of G.I. Joe news, but enough that's worth talking about because G.I. Joe is my bread and butter. That the ThreeZero Baroness 1/6 scale figure we talked about last week has gone up for pre-order. Once again, this went up for pre-order like a couple days after I made that video. It is available at most places for $159.99, $160. It's going for $170 on Big Bad Toy Store. Sideshow right now, Sideshow Collectibles has a layaway plan with a $16 non-refundable deposit and then 2 monthly payments of, I think it's $72. Now this doesn't include shipping yet. Shipping will affect the price. But just so you know, that layaway plan is an option, that the $16 non-refundable deposit is paid now, and then the 2 payments of $72 are made in the last 2 months before this releases. And this is up for release this year. I think it was September. I think September is when they're estimating a release for this. I apologize, I forgot to write it down on my script, but I do seem to remember that September is when they will be releasing this. So now would be $16, and then August would be $72, September would be $72, and then they'll ship it out to you. Also on the G.I. Joe front, it popped up in Renegade Con, which I was not expecting. I didn't think anything G.I. Joe related was going to happen in Renegade Con. If you're not familiar with what Renegade Con is, it is Renegade Games' online event where they talk about new releases coming down the pipeline. That was this past Friday as well. Let me know if you watched it. Let me know what you thought of it. I thought there were some really cool things about it. There was more there was more that was entertaining me than what I was expecting. But the two things that I was very much into was, first of all, there is a new Risk game coming out, and that is Risk G.I. Joe Special Missions. I have not played any of the sort of themed versions of Risk. I've only ever had like the standard one where the whole point of it is basically take over the world, create the empire. But this, with the G.I. Joe moniker on it, oh, I am totally about this. Now, we don't have very many pictures yet. As a matter of fact, the only picture we have is the one that you're looking at right now, which is of the box, and then this one right here, which is presumably the board for the game. So that's cool, and I want to see more of it, because for $70, that's right, the game is $70. It is up for pre-order now on Renegade Games' website, link in the description below. But for $70, you get one game board, 252 miniatures, 13 leader cards, 36 action cards, 46 territory cards, one battle bonus card, 10 scenario cards, 26 objective cards, 4 large player aids, 13 leader tokens, 20 command tokens, 12 pilot tokens, 20 objective point tokens, 10 base tokens, 1 USS flag token, 1 Cobra Island token, 1 round tracker, 1 recruit value tracker, 4 battle bonus trackers, 7 basic scenario tokens, 6 Terrordrome tokens, 1 mass device token, 1 broadcast energy transmitter, the BET token, 6 battle dice, 2 faction screens, 1 rulebook. That's a lot for $70, I feel, and I'm curious as to how big these miniatures are going to be. It says 252 miniatures. I'm very curious to see how big those miniatures are going to be, like if they will be something big enough that's worth painting, or if they'll be the size of the miniatures that are in like G.I. Joe, Axis, and Allies. One thing that I talked to my brother about, because he's more into board gaming and tabletop games than I am. Like I said, the last time I played Risk, the whole objective to it was just take over the world. This comes with a scenario book where you have, I think it's like 5 different scenarios that you can play through, 5 different objectives, where one side plays Cobra, one side plays G.I. Joe. And they, like, the estimated time is anywhere between 90 and 120 minutes. So it's a long haul game. But I also dig that there are different scenarios. It's not just Cobra takes over the world or G.I. Joe stops them. I think that's really cool, which also leads to why there's a mass device and a broadcast energy transmitter in the game. That'll be kind of awesome. I'm surprised there's no weather dominator involved in this yet, although that was in Axis and Allies, so maybe that's why they left it out of this one. So once again, $70 up for pre-order now. The second thing that really got my attention was when they were talking about HeroScape, and they started the Renegade Con with HeroScape and what is coming down the line for HeroScape. And if you're not familiar, HeroScape is basically like a skirmisher game where it's like all worlds collide in Valhalla, that you can have fantasy factions, you can have sci-fi factions, you can have modern warfare factions. It's just like a big sandbox miniatures game where you build your armies. Think of Warhammer 40k, but on a much smaller scale. And it also comes with terrain pieces, so you can set up your terrain, set up your battlefield, things like that. It's cool. It was never anything I was into, but it's cool. But now I think I might be getting the starter pack because they announced that G.I. Joe is coming to HeroScape. There's going to be a G.I. Joe expansion pack, at least one coming out. We know there's going to be Joes and Cobras involved. And even if you're not playing it as HeroScape, as like the narrative was meant to be, you now have a G.I. Joe skirmisher game if that's what you want. You just get the HeroScape starter pack, which is the, what is it? It is the Battle for the Wellspring Battle Box. There's a picture of it right here. That's $45. It's up for sale right now on Renegade Games, link in the description below. But you get that as your starting point, and then you can get G.I. Joe and you can have G.I. Joe and Cobra tabletop combat. That's cool. That's really cool. That really got my attention. This is something that I've been wanting for a while. I just didn't think anybody would actually go through with it. So no word on who's actually going to be involved. The only name that they dropped was Mindbender, because they're trying to, I guess, build a narrative that Mindbender built some sort of dimensional device that is like bringing them into Valhalla, which is where the main setting for this is, from what I understand. So I'm excited about that. I'm definitely going to be checking that out. And the last thing we're going to talk about, this is both from Renegade Con and Hasbro related. If you're a fan of Power Rangers, if you've been a fan of Heroes of the Grid campaign, that is coming to an end. And they kind of got a little bit emotional about that when they were talking about this campaign ending. So I'm curious if that means that Power Rangers as a brand for them in general is coming to an end, since Hasbro seems to be done with it and Playmates is picking up the ball and running, or if they're going to be able to continue with like the Power Rangers RPG and the Power Rangers deck building game, and it's just Heroes of the Grid that's coming to an end. But Heroes of the Grid was a campaign that covered a couple of years, I think. And right now they have a Heroes of the Grid bundle for sale on RenegadeGames.com for $125, which I think is like roughly $180 worth of game material that you can get that will start you on this campaign. And the final chapter, Power Rangers Eternal Rangers final chapter, is actually up on Kickstarter right now. It has 100% funded. It has funded, I think, 3 times over at this point. So there's no worry that like this won't get funded and this won't eventually be available for sale on Renegade Games' website. But if you want to check out the final chapter, maybe get in on it, link to the Kickstarter in the description below as well. And finally, Hasbro had their Marvel Legends fan stream this week. So we have a lot to get through with this. If you are a fan of Spider-Man, if you are a fan of Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation, this is the wave for you. Boy, are you in for a treat, because this entire reveal on the fan stream was almost exclusively Gamerverse based off of the Spider-Man 2 video game. There was only a couple of things that weren't related to Spider-Man 2, and I literally mean a couple of things. 2 things. So the first thing we're going to open up with is this bad boy, Spirit Spider. Now, in the comics, he was originally called Ghost Spider, but I think that was before Spider-Gwen changed her name, so I get why they're calling this one Spirit Spider now. This wasn't even a Spider-Man character, or this wasn't even related to like Spider-Man in the comics, like in the Amazing Spider-Man. I think this came out of the pages of Hulk, and like it was a future Hulk, I think, maybe in like an annual or something. Like, I can't honestly remember because I haven't actually read Hulk, but this guy, Spirit Spider right here, looks fantastic. This is right up my alley. You may know I'm a huge fan of Ghost Rider. This is kind of bridging the gap between my 2 Marvel fandoms of Spider-Man and Ghost Rider right there. It's a totally new sculpt that the spider is sculpted into his chest, so they're really not going to be able to reuse this for anything, and his feet are bare feet. Now, he also comes with wall-crawling hands, fists, and thwips. So he comes with all of the hand accessories you would need for a Spider-Man figure. I want this one. I will probably try and get this one. Now, this one, though, is a Walmart exclusive. Now, most of what we're talking about is going to be put up for pre-order next month. This one, the Walmart exclusive, they said is going to come out later this year, that it's going to be pre-orders are going to open in March. Walmart exclusive, pre-orders available in March. We know that the first Walmart Collectors Con this year is going to be March 13th and 14th. I have no doubt in my mind this is going to be a Collector Con exclusive. This is going to be like one of their flagship pieces. The Collector Con figures tend to be a little bit easier to get than the ones that they just release on the shelf, so I'm hoping that this one will be easier to get. Also, the Collector Con figures tend to have a Hasbro Pulse release on the same day as well. So there will probably be a very limited amount of these on Hasbro Pulse, but we know they'll be available at Walmart too. The next one we're going to talk about, there were 3 for Peter and there were 3 for Miles. The next one we're going to talk about is Anti-Venom right here. Now, all of these figures are based off of skins that you could unlock for the characters in the video game. I do not have a PlayStation, so I've never played this game, so I don't know the significance of this skin, other than it's called Anti-Venom, which kind of confuses me because Anti-Venom has always been white with black overlay, not this blue and silver. Don't get me wrong, this looks really cool. I just don't understand why there's this palette swap on them and why it looks so shiny and metallic. He comes with wall crawling hands, fists, and thwips, and also comes with a web line accessory. By the way, there is no pricing for any of this yet, but I'm going to assume that most of these, with a few exceptions, are going to be in the realm of $25. We'll have to wait and see. Now, the last one that's coming out, the one that I really like as well, and I'll probably be trying to snag this one, is a new symbiote Spider-Man, Peter in his symbiote suit. I really like this. I like the look. I like the sculpt. I like that shade of black. I like that the suit is textured instead of just another smooth overlay. This is different enough from other symbiote Spider-Mans that we've had, or black suit Spider-Mans that we have, that I'm actually kind of excited about this. I also like that he doesn't come with a web line. He comes with like symbiotic tendrils instead of webs. I'm assuming that's how he works in the game, that even when Peter wore the suit, there were no web lines that came out. There was just the symbiote tentacles that came out, or tendrils that came out. The one complaint I've heard about this is that there's no butterfly joints on this version of Spider-Man. And yes, most Spider-Men have butterfly joints, as we see right here. But as has been mentioned, and I cannot take credit for this, Robo came up with this when I was watching the Rewind. If you look at the sculpt of the Spider logo, if they would have put butterfly joints on him, it would have cut into that clean sculpt, because that Spider logo looks like it is sculpted onto the buck. So I get why they didn't put butterfly joints on him. And as a matter of fact, I kind of prefer that they didn't, because that is a very clean cut logo and I really like that one. So that is our 3 figures for Peter. Now we have 3 for Miles. And the first one we're going to look at is just something that's called his upgrade or updated suit. And it's sort of like Miles's version of the classic red and blue suit. It's okay. It's very bright and colorful, which is very different for Miles. I can see why there would be some fans of this, and I can see why people would be excited about this, because it is very different for Miles. This doesn't really do anything for me. A lot of the Miles variants don't really do anything for me. Like, with it being Miles and being so like solidified in like black and red, sometimes when they add color to him, it just doesn't work for me. He still has his shock hands though, and he comes with wall crawling hands, fists, and thwips. So all of them come with all of the hand accessories that they should have. The other one that we have is Miles in his, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this, and I do apologize, but it's his Borica suit? Borica? I apologize. Miles in his Borica suit, and I don't mean any disrespect for this, because I do dig that the Puerto Rican flag was incorporated into the suit. But to me, this is just Bucky Cap with a Spider-Man mask on. I think they could have done something a little different with the arms. And I understand that they're just basing this off of the comic and or the video game. I don't know if this version of Miles popped up in the comic at all. This might be a video game only skin. But if they would have like made like switched the black and the reds, like everything that was black just made it red, so he would have had the red arms and the red lower torso and the legs. I think visually that would have separated it not only from the Bucky cap look, but I think it would have blended better with the colors that already exist, especially since if you look at it, they give him red hands anyway. I don't know why they have just like black sleeves, red hand, and then the flag. It doesn't make much sense to me. And like I said, I know the designers at Hasbro have their hands tied based on the source material, but I go back and question why they did this with the source material. Like I said, it just looks a little bit too much like Bucky cap for me. Once again, he comes with fists, thwips, wall-crawling hands, and a webline accessory. And the third Miles we have to take a look at is actually the one that I think is pretty cool. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it yet, but there is a possibility because it's Miles Morales in the Brooklyn 2099 look. That's cool. That's really cool. This was made specifically for the game, just so that you had something to put Miles in for a 2099 look. And I really dig this look. The helmet instead of a mask. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm getting very strong like Red Hood vibes from this guy with the cargo pants, the sort of armored upper torso. Everything you see in red is sculpted in. It looks like it might even be made from red translucent plastic that they just painted over, which it gives it a very, very cool look. I really like it. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but I do really like it. It's very unique, but still like has that Miles Morales Spider-Man look to it. Like, this is a great 2099 update for the character. He comes with wall crawling hands, fists, thwips, and just sort of like unique web accessories. Instead of a web line, it looks like he just has like webs that are just shooting out. Very cool. Really digging it. Might pick this one up. Now, that is all for Peter. That is all for Miles. Now we have some of the supporting cast that we're going to take a look at. And of course, that means we're going to be looking at Felicia Hardy, Black Cat. They have really, when I say they, I mean Marvel, they have really been trying to make Peter and Black Cat happen ever since they broke him and Mary Jane up in the 616 universe. I think they're trying to go for that Batman Catwoman dynamic because they're like, we got our most popular character in Spider-Man, we got a Catwoman-esque character in Black Cat, but it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. But that's, comic critiques are neither here nor there. Let's talk about this figure. That this is not my favorite version of Felicia. And I think it's only because of the fur that's coming off of her forearms and her calves. If you got rid of that fur and just put her in like the black suit, I think that would be cool. But the fur coming off of her forearms and calves just looks like she doesn't have her fur collar. There's no fur anywhere else. It's like they just put fur on her because they were like, it's Black Cat, we have to give her fur. She has a moving ponytail, so that's cool. I always like whenever characters that have long ponytails like that either have interchangeable ponytails or they're articulated so you can swing them and put them into action positions or get them out of the way if they're wearing backpacks. I really appreciated that they've been doing that with like the G.I. Joe Classified figures with Scarlet. She comes with a set of claw hands, a left fist, and a right grip hand. And that grip hand is for the game version of the Wand of Wacom, which is molded in translucent plastic and then just painted over. So that's all we're going to talk about with Black Cat. Like I said, I haven't played the game. I don't know how major of a player she is in the game. I'm going to guess pretty major if they made a figure of her. Just isn't my favorite look for her. We also have a deluxe figure coming out for this, and that is the Deluxe Kingpin. I know he was the first boss in the first game, I believe. As a matter of fact, they even mentioned that in the Fanstream, if you watched it. In addition to all of the links for all of this stuff that's available, I'll leave a link to the Fanstream in the description below as well, because all of this stuff isn't available yet. But this is a giant figure. Kingpin right here is a giant figure, And they even said that they based him off of the Mr. Fix-It Hulk. So this is basically the same body as Fix-It, just with new hands and a new head sculpt. He comes with 2 heads, one that's a neutral face, one that's a little grumpy. He has new hands, 2 closed fists, one left with a C-grip hand, and one that is also a fist, but it has a hole bored out through it, so you can slide his cane down into it and he can hold it there, or he can hold the head of it in the C-grip hand. And his cane has a translucent ruby up top. So there's not much to this. I mean, it's a Kingpin figure. It's a pretty cool Kingpin figure. If you like your Kingpin maybe a little bit more slimmer, a little bit more bulkier, rather than like the rotund Kingpin that we're used to. This is going to be an Amazon exclusive. This is also going up for pre-order in March. It will not be going up next month. Or I'm sorry, next week. This will be Amazon exclusive in March. And now we have the Super Deluxe figure, which was originally, from what I understand, supposed to be a Build-A-Figure from this wave, but they decided to just release it as its own figure, and that is our Super Deluxe Venom. Venom, from what I understand, was the big bad from Spider-Man 2. Obviously he would be, because Peter gets the symbiote suit, and then that means the symbiote suit has to leave, and it has to bond with Eddie, and then Eddie becomes Venom, and then Venom becomes the big bad. From what I understand, they even mentioned this in the Fanstream, that there are 2 versions of Venom in the video game, that really you see it in the difference in the spider logo on his chest. This one is based off of the second end boss version of Venom, and he is huge. He stands at, what, 10.5 inches tall. Here he is next to Miles. He's just too big for me. And I get that this is based off of a video game. And like video game boss battles, the bosses are always like oversized. I get that. But this is just way too big for me. I like Venom being like normal human sized, but just like big and bulky. Like basically, like I really like that original like McFarlane interpretation of Venom, where he's just like a big buff dude that's just enhanced by the symbiote. I don't go for like when Venom is huge like this, but I get that there's a lot of people that are really going to like this, that are really going to like that he's just this freaking big. Now he comes with 2 head sculpts, one with an open mouth, one with a closed mouth. The open mouth, that drool, that slime piece that's in his mouth, actually pops out. So you can choose to have him with drool or without drool if that's your thing. Now, the closed mouth head, it just looks a little bit too much like Rec Rap. If you know, you know. That's just what I'm saying. Now, this is going up for pre-order. Oh, wait, there's also the grapple piece. I almost forgot about that. That you can pop his hands off, and he has like symbiote tendrils that come out. And they are long enough and complex enough that you can wrap up another figure in them, which I think is a really cool touch. So you can have him like reaching out and like grappling with Spider-Man. I dig that. I think that's really cool. This is going up for pre-order next week, along with the majority of what we're talking about here. But instead of going up for pre-order on the 25th with everything else, for some reason this is on a 2-day delay. That this will be up for pre-order on Thursday, February 27th. And then the last thing that we took a look at, which is the one that I am most excited about and most frustrated about, it is not part of the Gamerverse. It is just a legit Marvel Legends. It is the Warpath and X-23 X-Force 2-pack. I don't give a care about Warpath, but I want that X-23. I am a big fan of Laura Kinney. I loved her interpretation in Logan. I wish they would have done more with her in Deadpool and Wolverine. I really want her to be the next Wolverine in the MCU. And if there is any doubt that I am just saying this and paying lip service, here I have the 3rd issue of Laura Kinney Wolverine's new series. And I also have issue 8 of NYX, where Laura's on the cover just being an absolute boss. So, yes, I really dig this character. I really like this look for her. Of course, I do want to eventually get like her tiger stripe suit that she got off of Logan, but I just want Laura, and now I got to get a 2-pack for it with a character I don't care about. Now, Warpath is built on the Omega Red body, which means people are going to be flipping out because he has pins. Oh no. Warpath comes with a pair of daggers, and I think that's really all for accessories. I think he has daggers, gripping hands, and closed fists. X-23 has a lot of new parts, a lot of new sculpt. Pinless. The third claw in her boots is removable. She comes with 2 sets of hands, claws out, claws in, and she has 2 head sculpts, super angry and just kind of miffed. I do wish that the head sculpts, you take a look here, I do wish that the head sculpts also had interchangeable hair pieces so you could sort of mix and match. I also wish they hadn't put the mask on the really angry face, but I get it, that's part of the X-Force costume, and she does look really BA with those red lenses in the domino mask. But I do like her mouth open and you can see her fangs on the inside. I think that's really cool too. This is going up with a March pre-order. Nothing about it being an exclusive. It's just that it's going to be up for pre-order sometime in March. And to back that up, on the Entertainment Earth drop zone, there is a Hasbro slot for March 22nd that says, get ready for something super, or maybe 2 super things. And that's it. So it might be this. It might be the 2-pack. And that is March 22nd, well after Toy Fair. So we'll have to wait and see for that. But I'm looking forward to this one. I'll get it. I'll keep Laura. I'll probably sell Warpath because, yeah, I have no interest in them. So, everything we've been talking about, except for anything that I said, exclusive, going to be released in March, or going to be released on the 22nd, everything else is going to be released next Tuesday. Time of recording, next Tuesday on February 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Like I said, Venom will be going up on February 27th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. There was nothing said about Pulse Premium members getting early access, which I know when they don't do that, that rubs a lot of Pulse Premium members the wrong way, honestly, myself included. But I get that they can't do that all the time. I understand that. So, in addition to all of these reveals, there was a hint, as there always is for Marvel Legends, which is this missile right here. And at first when I saw this, I honestly thought that maybe this was the missile that Bucky was riding when he blew up and died in World War II, and maybe we were going to get a World War II based Bucky in his younger sidekick days. But I honestly forget who said this, but I did read that there's a rumor or a leak that this missile is actually an accessory to the Maximum Hulk that is going to be coming out. So who knows, maybe Maximum Hulk will be a Toy Fair release or a Toy Fair reveal, and then later in the month, as in March, he'll be released for pre-order. Who knows? But that is our hint for what is coming up next. If you're still with us at this point, what a legend you are. Seriously, thank you for making it to the end. If you came this far, go ahead and leave the video a like, because obviously you've been liking what you've been seeing. Now, something else that I wanted to talk about is that on the Entertainment Earth drop zone, there is a placard for the 25th as well. You'll see it right here. That doesn't look like it's part of the Hasbro Gamerverse wave that we just released. And it says, if you missed it once, don't miss it again. Another second chance at a great toy awaits you. So there's going to be a re-release of something, or at least a second round of pre-orders for something. Fingers crossed, I'm thinking that might be a second round of pre-orders for maybe Maximum Spider-Man. I don't know, because I do think they need to do more with that, because it's ridiculous how fast that sold out. That would be really cool. I'm betting that's not what it is, but just be aware that there is going to be something else from Hasbro going up on the 25th. Also, if you saw my video from earlier in the week on Tuesday when I did Panther, card and link right here, that's probably going to be the last one that has the Masters of the Universe by the Power of Grayskull intro. That got hit for copyright, or that got demonetized, which they've never been demonetized before. And since that one got demonetized, some of the older ones from way back from a few years ago have started to get demonetized as well. So Mattel has picked up, or whoever owns the rights for that has picked up that that's being used. So I'm going to have to just go with a standard intro for that. But at least we got to do it one more time for John. Happy New Year, everyone. The holidays are over, and it's great to have you all back. To celebrate the new year, go ahead and leave a like on the video. And while you're at it, you might as well subscribe if you haven't already. If you're a returning subscriber, I would like to thank you for coming back and joining me for 2025. If you would like to help this community of collectors grow, you can do so by joining the Steel Core. You can do that by becoming a channel member or a coffee page subscriber. Either one gets you access to members-only videos, the Discord, and eventually members-only live streams, all for $1 a month. You can join by clicking on the button below this video, or by clicking the link to my coffee page in the description below. It's a new year, and new things are coming to the channel. So play well, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.